We will learn how to use some efficient strategies to solve multi-step problems with multiplying and dividing. On division ones and multiplication ones, we'll learn how to interpret the answers appropriately. In some division problems, the remainder can be part of the answer. The first step in solving a story problem is to read the problem carefully. So we'll read the problem. A bin of potatoes weighs 100 pounds. The potatoes are packed into bags weighing 15 pounds each. How many bags of potatoes are there? How many pounds are left? Our first job is to write a sentence answer, leaving a blank for the answer so we understand what questions are being asked. So there's two questions. The first is, how many bags of potatoes are there? The second is, how many pounds are left? To answer the first question, we will say there are blank bags of potatoes. To answer the second question, how many pounds are left, we'll say there are blank pounds of potatoes left. To find the answer, if we know the whole bin is 100 and I'm going to put some in bags, I'm going to be putting some in one bag, some in another bag, some in another bag. So I'm dividing them up. I'm taking 100 divided by 15. So how many 15s are in 100? I can think of 15 as 20, and there's 5 in there. So I can try 15 times 5. That gives me 75. I'm thinking 15 will go in there more than that. Let's try 6 or 7. 15 times 6 is 90, and that's pretty close. Another 15 will put us over 100. So my multiply is 6. 6 times 15 is 90. I subtract, I get 10. So my number of bags of potatoes is 6, and how many pounds are left is 10. I need both parts of the division problem for my answer. And the last step is to see if your answers make sense. Well, if I had 100 pounds and I split them up, does it make sense I could have 6? Well, 6 times 15 gives me 90, so yeah, that makes sense, and then there's 10 left over. Sometimes you will need to increase the quotient, the answer to a division problem, when it includes the remainder. Again, we'll start by reading the question. A school has 120 students who are going on a field trip. Each bus holds 35 students. What is the number of buses needed? So our first job is to come up with a sentence answer. We need to know the number of buses needed. So our sentence could say, the number of buses needed is blank. To understand the problem, what we're looking for, we're taking 120 students and we're trying to split them up into groups of 35, because 35 could go on bus 1, 35 could go on bus 2, 35 on bus 3. How many buses do I need? 3, 4, 5, 10? Let's divide to find out. So if I take 120, split my 120 students into groups of 35, how many groups will I have? When I think of 35 as 40, 40 goes into 120 about 3 times. So let's see if 35 times 3 would work. That gives us 105. I wonder if I can get one more. 35 times 4 gives us 140. It's too big. So I need 3 buses. That's my divide step. Multiply, that gives us 105. Subtract. I have 15 students left. That didn't fit on those 3 buses. So I can't take 3 remainder 15 buses. 3 won't be enough because these 15 students would be left behind. So I have to increase my quotient and take 4 buses to fit all the students. There will only be 15 students on the 4th bus, but at least they didn't have to stay home. Sometimes it takes more than one step to solve a problem. Let's try a 2-step problem. First step, read the problem. Rob fills 250-gallon fuel tanks at $3 per gallon at a gas station. How much money does he need to pay for filling 9 such tanks? So we need to know how much money, and we want 9 such tanks. So our sentence answer might say, he needs blank dollars to fill 9 such tanks. Sometimes a problem requires more than 2 steps to solve. Let's read this one. Ms. Hernandez buys a car and pays for it in equal payments of $478. After 45 payments, she still owes $3,090. How much would each payment be if she pays for the car in 60 equal payments? Well, the question wants to know how much each payment is if she pays for it in 6 equal payments. So our sentence answer would say she would pay blank dollars for each of the 60 equal payments. Well, we already know there's going to be more than 2 steps, and we also know we're doing multiplying and dividing, so that's kind of a giveaway. So if you're making 45 payments of $478 and you already paid this much, well, this would be like 478 times 45. And then we'll add on the $3,090 she already paid. So we'll work this out. So the 45 payments came out to $21,510, but she had already paid $3,090, so we'll add that on. That comes out to $24,600. Now, if she wanted to pay that in 60 payments instead, this would be my total, but I would need to split it up into 60 payments. So that's $24,600 divided by 60 payments instead of 45. Let's work. Working that out, it comes to $410 for each payment. Does that make sense? Well, if I do 410 times 60, that gives me the $24,600. That was what I had when I did the 478 times 45 payments plus the $3,090, so that sounds reasonable. This problem requires looking at this table to find the answer. And these are charges at a parking garage. First hour, $7, second hour, $5, and the third, fourth, fifth hours is $3 per hour. So the question says, Mr. Lee parked his car here from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. one day. How much did he pay? Our sentence answer is pretty easy. Mr. Lee paid blank dollars. Well, if he parked here from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., first I need to know how many hours that is. That is 5 hours. So we had the first of those 5 hours is going to cost $7. So first hour equals $7. The second hour is going to cost us $5. And that means there is 3 hours left. So at $3 per hour, that would be 3 times the remaining 3 hours equals another $9. If I add all of those up, I find out that Mr. Lee paid 12 plus 9 is $21.